What is up, everybody? Happy Sunday, and welcome to the final MLB Crunch Time show here before the All-Star break. If you want to make it count before a 4-day breather, today is the day. We'll all be ready, I'm sure, for baseball to come back by Friday, but always looking forward to a short little break, recharge, refresh, and we'll see if we can win some money heading into the All-Star break. So to help try to do that today, you've got three of us here this afternoon. I, of course, am Justin Van Zuden, STL Cardinals 84. We'll be hosting the show today. We've got TJ Swarich alongside, as well as usual on Sundays, doing the double hosting and producing role. So, TJ, what's going on today?
Oh, not too much. Got up bright and early this morning to write the expert survey and my prize picks article. And so I got those done by about 7:30 a.m. my time, had a shower, cleaned the whole upstairs of my house because my wife has been at the lake and she gets home this evening. And so I thought, hey, it'd be pretty nice if she comes home to a clean house. And so I've been up and at 'em early today. I got Spidey bombs ready to go if people are ready to smash the like button. It's a gross pitching slate, but I still like it. I like slates that we just get to load up on bats.
Yeah, and everybody's dealing with the same options today for sure. So it's not like other people have better pitchers than you do, and we just got to make the best of it. And Taylor Smith alongside as well. And when Taylor hopped in today, he said, "Is it too much to ask for us to get some pitching?" It has been a little rough here, Friday, Saturday, Sunday on the pitching side. Chris Sale's pitching today, but that doesn't help us on the all-day slate or on the main slate. He's on the all-day slate pitching later this afternoon, but. Yeah, it's a little ugly out there today. So outside of the ugly pitching, though, Taylor, how you doing?
Yeah, outside of that, doing well. Might be nice to have a couple days off after this, but like you said, like by Tuesday afternoon, I'll probably be pretty bored. So excited for it to come back in a few days. But like you said, we should make the most of the one we have in front of us today.
Yeah, I'm a little jaded being the kind of the weekend guy. I do the articles on the weekends and do the shows on the weekends. Like the weekend guy, I don't. It's no different than me. By the time we get to next weekend, everybody's back already. So it's no different for the wear for me, I guess. But for everybody doing stuff throughout the week, I'm sure it'll be nice to have a few days off. And you can always bet the home run derby. You can fire some bets on the All-Star game too. So there'll be some stuff out there, but. Always a pretty slow week on the sports calendar. And I believe the MLB draft starts later today as well. So I know nobody gets as hyped for that as the other sports, but that will be going on over the next couple days also. So, all right, TJ, you're running the ship today on the YouTube. So you lay out the parameters. I know you got some home run calls today.
Yeah, I got lots of home run calls ready. I'll tell you what, the chat's already above 50 likes. So it's time for Spidey Bomb number 1 already. We were all talking about this one pre-show together as a mutual home run call we all liked. I actually got him for plus 500, so that's why I was so happy about it. But you can get him for plus 425 on BetMGM, plus 400 on DK. Ian Happ, Spidey Bomb number 1 today. We'll get the second one at 75 likes, third at 100, fourth at 125, et cetera, et cetera. I got a lot today, so I'm ready to unleash them.
Yeah, Hap has really good numbers.
Oh, we're already at 75 likes.
Look at that. Everybody's hollering for him.
I love when the weekend crew steps up big. Spidey Bomb number 2 today is going to be Ellie Dela Cruz. Spoiler alert, but they're my highest owned stack, the Cincinnati Reds, plus 550 on BetMGM, plus 500 on DK. Ellie Dela Cruz, Spidey Bomb number 2.
Yeah, so you mentioned Hap. He always seems to hurt the Cardinals. It's hot in St. Louis today. Good thing weather, and you've got a couple of strikeout pitchers in that game with Michaelis and Tyon. So interesting spot to target some one-off home runs in that game for sure. We can talk more about it as we go along, but let's go ahead and dig into the pitching to get things started. I'll let you have first track here because you said you kind of liked it. So you can let's try to put some lipstick on it, if you will. So what do you like at pitcher today?
I'm actually not sure which one of us you just threw at 2 cards. You're kind of going robot mode, cutting in and out. So you may want to join in and out quick. It started good, but then it kind of disappeared in that last stretch there. In the meantime, Brian asks in chat, doesn't Dela Cruz struggle against lefty? It's So far in his career, yeah, he has, except for the last month. He's got like a 267, I believe, ISO over the last month to left-handed pitching. And so it was an early sample size that said he didn't do well against lefties. And now all of a sudden he's picking it up. So I'm looking to ride that hot streak a little bit. Cards, how we doing?
Is this better?
Yes.
Okay, not sure what happened there. I didn't mess with anything, but hey, sometimes the thing goes robot on you. You just don't know. Anyway, I had thrown it to you, TJ, to put lipstick on the pig because you said you liked the pitching.
Yes. I don't like the pitching, but I do like the slate.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
I like slates. We get the vote up on bats, and so still, there's 3 pitchers I feel somewhat confident in today. Jose Quintana, he's just too cheap at 7,900. Mitch Keller and Nick Lodolo. I have between 40 to 50% of all 3 of those guys today. I actually only have 6 pitchers in my pool. So I'm going the full fade route today of Max Scherzer. I have no Ronel Blanco. I have no Brady Singer. I have no Ryan Pepio at 23% projected ownership today. No Marquez, who's picking up some ownership. I'm going exclusively with the 3 fairly heavily owned guys in Quintana, Lodolo, and Keller. But those are the ones I feel most confident in. And then my 3 big tournament shots are Jake Irvin, who has either been really terrible or really great lately. Trevor Rogers, because he's 5K. Cincinnati is my highest owned stack today, but Rogers can still strike some guys out. Cincinnati strikes out a lot. And so if they fail, at least I'm going to have some Rogers too. I also think he is a low owned way to get some Philadelphia stacks into your lineup and get a little bit different than the field. And then finally, Ben Lively, probably my favorite low owned tournament pitcher today, going up against Tampa Bay in Tampa Bay, Pitchers Park. We got great weather all over the slate. We're not worried about it there. I like Lively quite a bit for tournaments today.
All right, Taylor, I know we don't like the slate, but you got any fun takes at pitcher today?
Yeah, my pool is only 7 deep. Lodolo, Keller, and Quintana, of course, kind of core plays today. I do have a lot of Pepio, just because he's one of the better strikeout pitchers on the slate. I know Cleveland doesn't strike out a lot at all, but kind of like yesterday with Luis Heel, like taking a shot on a guy like that does have upside, I think makes sense on a slate like this. I agree on the Rogers take, just like the Reds look great, but Rogers is okay, pretty decent ground ball guy. Cincinnati, like TJ says, strikes out a lot, and he's 5K, so you can play him and load up on the Phillies or whoever. So he's in my pool. I do have a couple Jake Irvin lineups, even though he's overpriced, I think at 9K on DraftKings. And then the one guy that TJ didn't name that I haven't exactly one lineup is Miles Michaelis, just because he's cheap and, perhaps he BABIPs his way to 5 okay innings against a kind of underwhelming Cubs offense. So not a whole lot different today, kind of loading up on Lodolo, Keller, and Quintana with a lot of Pepio sprinkled in too.
Yeah, it's just a day where there's not a lot of high projections with the pitching scores, and you avoid the landmines, you'll probably be okay. Keller is my favorite as well. I mean, doesn't get a lot of attention nationally because, of course, Skeens is getting all that attention, but Keller goes deep into games. Doesn't have the same, glitzy strikeout stuff, but does have a 5.5 strikeout prop today. So Keller and Quintana is probably the logical pairing, at least for me on DK. You're not going crazy if you throw some of those other guys that you guys mentioned in there, but probably not a day where we're going to see huge scores with pitching options. So, all right.
FanDuel Cash, I think you probably play Quintana in your cash game lineup, 8,700. It's a nice discount there. But tournaments at single-digit ownership, I absolutely love Nick Lodolo on FanDuel. Like, that's just, he shouldn't be 8%. He should be, him and Keller both should be 15, I think.
All right, a little bit of housekeeping reminder before we dig into the bats. If you want to ask questions live while we're on the show, we are in the live stream chat channel in the Roto Grinders Discord, and so you can access that, rotogrinders.com/Discord. You don't have to be a premium subscriber to get access to that. Just a Roto Grinders member, and find us in the live stream chat channel. We'll get to those questions towards the end of the show. And also, if you aren't a premium subscriber, there's never been a better time to sign up for Roto Grinders Premium. We've got MLB, obviously. We've got golf, major championship next week. We've got MMA. We've got WNBA. An option for whatever level you are looking for. You can get a 6-month combo subscription at an exclusive price of $469.99. That's a savings of $250 over buying 6 individual months of combo premium. You can get your first month for $40 off for a limited time. And if you want a test run before buying it, you can dip your toes in the water with a 3-day pass at $19.99. You can check the links in the description for more info on that. All right, let's talk stacks here before we go through the positions. Taylor, I'll throw this one to you first. What do you like for stacks today?
Yeah, so it's a little like yesterday when the Reds and the Phillies were kind of standing out. I'm on the Phillies again, of course, against Joey S's. His numbers against lefties in particular are quite poor. So Harper, Schwarber, Stott, Stubbs, those guys, Brandon Marsh again, look great. Trey Turner from the right side, no problem with that. Cincinnati at home against Trevor Rogers. Like we've talked about, Rogers is playable, but of course the Reds have a ton of power. From the right side, Steer, Stevenson, Marte, De La Cruz, Candelario, Rhys Hines, the new Aristides Aquino, hitting a home run every day. So they are a great stack again today. Otherwise, I'm kind of going cheap. I think Oakland on the other side of the Philly game is interesting. Big park boost for them. Philly is starting Orion Kirkring, and I think Michael Mercado is probably pitching in bulk relief. So not a very imposing right-hander for them. Oakland being affordable again puts them on my radar. Miami, kind of like with the Rogers thing, like you can play Rogers, you can play the Reds, you can play Lodolo, but I'm also playing some Marlins because they're cheap and get a big park boost. Lodolo is a kind of a fly ball lefty too, so vulnerable to power, particularly from the right side. Berger, Bell, guys like that. De La Cruz looks solid to me. Pittsburgh is also on my radar. They're another bad team getting a big park boost going into Chicago. The White Sox have Jared Schuster on the mound, I think, to open the game. There was talk about Chad Kuhl pitching long relief, Pirates legend Chad Kuhl. So Pittsburgh looks good. O'Neal Cruz from the left side, Brian Reynolds, guys like that. The stack's otherwise pretty affordable, so they look good to me. And I mentioned Michaelis being a decent play to the Cubs also, of course, because Michaelis is a low strikeout pitch to contact type. And the weather in St. Louis, I think, is really hitter-friendly today. So while I do have very minor interest in Michaelis, I think the Cubs also look pretty interesting.
All right, TJ, you love the bats, I know, on the slate today. So what do you got for your stack rankings here this afternoon?
So Philadelphia, obviously, from a raw point standpoint, I think is number one. But my favorite for tournaments is going to be Cincinnati. They're my highest owned stack today, with Philly right behind them. I like Detroit a lot for tournaments as a cheap stack today. The Cubs and Boston, two lower owned ones that I'm looking to get to a ton. I like Washington. I like the Dodgers. And I think Oakland was a great call as well. Pittsburgh's projecting super well. And that kind of rounds out my list of highest owned stacks. I do have some Texas, Milwaukee, Cleveland, and St. Louis, and New York Mets, and Miami as well.
All right. And as for weather today, we mentioned very hot and humid in St. Louis. Good weather there. Pretty good weather in Cincinnati and Chicago as well. It's hot. Roth does have yellow ratings for possible delays in New York and Detroit, but doesn't sound like anything extremely concerning. There's no orange in the forecasts at all. So just passing that along as usual, since Roth is not here on the weekends. All right, so let's go ahead and fly through position by position here. And then again, we'll reserve maybe the last 7 to 10 minutes before lock for questions. Lock is at 1:35 today, so we got about 28 minutes. So plenty of time to get through everything here. We will start at catcher. And TJ, what do we have at catcher today, and an update on the Spidey bombs if you are at that point?
Yeah, so I put the third Spidey bomb scrolling across the bottom. It is Rafael Devers. We want to get a fourth one, get up to 150 likes. I got a fourth one for us as well. So Ian Happ, Ellie De La Cruz, Rafael Devers. Ryan Cranberg giving me a hard time. So basically every stack, TJ. Yeah, I'm playing 150 lineups. So I have every stack except for, let's see, who specifically do I not have? I don't have any Tampa Bay. I don't have any Colorado. I don't have any White Sox. I don't have any Houston, actually, outside of mini stacks. So almost everybody today. But to kind of round things up, my favorites are Cincinnati, Philadelphia, Detroit, Chicago, Boston, Washington, LA. But going back to the catcher position today, Carson Kelly is actually the guy I'm getting to the most. I like him as a cheap one-off. I like him as well as part of a Detroit stack today. Tyler Stevenson and Garrett Stubbs are coming in number 2. And then Will Smith and Shea Langelier are the only other guys I'd consider outside of stack.
And not the worst position today, at least compared to, what we sometimes see at catcher. You've got Will Smith all the way up there at 5,700 on DK, but hitting second. William Contreras, all-star for the Brewers. You got Sal Perez. Alvarez has been coming on for the Mets. Some of these other guys like Stevenson, always good for a potential home run. So at least there are some options at the position today. Taylor, you like a catcher on their own today or with stacks, or how are you handling catcher?
I think it's mainly in stacks. I don't like Will Smith, always a fun off. You mentioned Contreras, but mostly stacks for me today. I think Langeliers is the one standing out the most, which is kind of always the case for me, at least. He's cheap. He's a good power hitter. Good matchup for them, like we talked about. Joey Bart has kind of hit pretty well this season, kind of a limited sample, but he's been decent. Like I mentioned, for Pittsburgh, they get a big Bart boost today. Stevenson's still underpriced for the red stack. I don't hate Pedro Pajes as a punt. St. Louis, we haven't really talked about, but they're facing Tyone. That game has good hitting weather, so I don't hate a Cardinals mini stack, and Pajes fits pretty easily into that. Alvarez, Sal Perez, guys like that. Yeah, there's kind of a lot to like a catcher, so not a bad spot.
Yeah, and that'll be the theme at a lot of the positions today. I mean, obviously, it's a day where there's not a lot of good pitching, so you're going to have a lot of options at most of the offensive positions. If we have that many at catcher, certainly we're going to have some of them at the other spots as well. So, Taylor, I will keep it with you, and let's move to first base.
Yeah, second day in a row where Bryce Harper kind of stands out above just about everybody else. We do have Ohtani on this slate, unlike yesterday, so Harper's not totally alone in that top tier. We're not sure what Detroit's doing, but there's a chance it's Kenta Maeda pitching in bulk, so that bodes really well for Ohtani. Those two are the top plays at the position. I do like Vinny Pasquantino quite a bit. Going into Fenway, Brian Bayo, a wide right-handed split, so lefties like Pasquantino grade out pretty well in that spot. Josh Bell, you can once again play at first base as a cheapie. Candelario in your red stack. Rowdy Tellez, decent value in the pirate stack. And then you're probably playing Alec Boehm at third if you're playing him, just because Harper's first base only. And Juan Yepes is once again on my radar as kind of a punt. That looks okay.
Yeah, don't mind that call if you're looking to go cheap at the position. The Nats, maybe a sneakier team to target that I kind of like today as well. Excuse me. TJ, what do you like at first base today?
Yepes is probably my favorite punt here as well. Bryce Harper, the top spend up, and then Ohtani is my third highest owned guy here. The Reds guys, Steer and Candelario, I'm trying to get to a lot. Jake Berger, Rowdy Tellez in the lefty, I think is very interesting. And then Dominic Smith as another cheapie for the Red Sox I like.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. Taylor kind of hit on a couple things here. We're not sure what the White Sox are doing with their pitching today. We're not sure exactly what the Tigers are doing. I'm not sure why these teams are deciding all of a sudden to be cryptic the day before the All-Star break. But, with the White Sox, it's whoever they're throwing out there, whether it's Schuster, Cool, or just a flat-out bullpen game. When you've got one of the worst bullpens in the league, that's never a great thing. And same with the Tigers going against the Dodgers. If it's Maeda, whoever they're throwing out there, probably a rough go of it for a couple of those bullpen games today. All right, TJ, I will stick with you and let us move to second base.
25 likes away from Spidey Bomb number 4, so keep smashing that like button. One more guy I like at first I forgot to mention is Michael Busch. But moving on to second, Colt Keith projected for 2% or maybe 3.5% ownership now. $3,500. Should probably be $1,000 more. It's my favorite play at the position. My next two highest owned guys are India and Espinal, and then I really like the underpriced Nick Gonzalez today as well. And then Bryson Stott, of course, is great, but I'll be underweight.
All right, Taylor, what do you got at second base today?
Yeah, not a whole lot different. Zach Geloff again looks good in an Oakland stack, still kind of cheap. Nolan Gorman, a lefty against Tyone, I think always looks pretty good with platoon advantage. The Dodgers have a couple of cheapies you can play. Gavin Lux and Chris Taylor, not good, but Taylor's kind of come around of late after a slow start. And I think Michael Massey is okay. I mentioned Pasquantino at first against Bayo's wide split. Massey is another lefty you can throw into a stack.
All right. Yeah, that takes care of second base. Not the most exciting position today. When I was going to rank them, I'm like, boy, there's just not a lot to love here at second. So I don't hate the idea of going cheaper at the position. Whether or not there's a high use of the salary if you're spending up there, I think is a good question today. Like, Stott, Altuve, Semien, those guys are always fine, but do you want to spend your premium salary at second base? I wish Andy Ibanez was leading off for the Tigers. He's not, but so I don't have as much interest in him hitting eighth. But I don't hate the idea of going cheaper at the position, even if you're taking a guy a little bit lower in the order today. All right,
Gonzalez
Taylor.
and Keith, I feel like that's really the range to go to. Low owned, not expensive, in great spots.
Yeah, if you look at Keith is 3,500 on DK. Gonzalez is 42, even Massey at 41. So kind of in the mid-range. Ownership will be pretty spread out, I think, at second today. So, all right, Taylor, I will stay with you, and let's go ahead and move to third base now.
Yeah, third base looks really rough. The guys I'm getting to the most are Berger and Bohm. You can also play at first, but I'm getting to them mostly at third. Ke'Bryan Hayes, I think, is an okay value in a Pirate stack. Brandon Crawford is 2K flat. Don't love it.
That's too expensive.
Yeah, it probably is. But on a slate like this, at a bad position, I think you can fully punt it and just kind of take what you get. Candelario, another top option here. Yet another one you can play also at first. After that, I'm really not seeing a lot. I guess you can get to Josh Smith maybe as a one-off. Don't love Texas today, but he's probably one of the better hitters in that lineup at this point. And Brett Harris, another punt you can play if you're stacking Oakland. All
right, third base. TJ, what do you got today?
Rafael Devers, the Spidey Bomb, one of my favorite tournament plays on the slate. Single-digit ownership and a great spot against Singer. The weather is good. Singer's been getting smashed by lefties this year. Devers is the one I have the most, followed by the Reds, Espinal, and Candelario. Angel Martinez, I really like as a cheapie for Cleveland today. And then Christopher Morel and Matt Vierling kind of rounded out for me.
Yeah, Ke'Bryan Hayes is probably my favorite point per dollar at the position, especially on DraftKings at 3,300. If he's going to be half as owned as Berger, I mean, not that I don't like Berger for the power upside as well, but Hayes, I like the Pirates. He's pretty cheap, so if you're going in that range, you can always spend up for Devers. But if you need to go cheap there, I like Hayes, like the Vierling call as well. So some interesting options. I know third base isn't quite as appealing these days as it used to be, but at least still some options to consider there. All right, let's move to shortstop, where there's about 10 different spend-up options that you could maybe consider. It's going to be really tough to make the case to go cheap at shortstop today because one of these top-end guys is probably going to have a big day. So, TJ, what do you like at shortstop?
Yeah, I'm taking a couple shots in terms of cheapies on Xavier Edwards and Zach McKinstry, but that's about it. Other than that, it's mostly Trey Turner, Ellie Dela Cruz, Corey Seager, CJ Abrams, a little bit of Oneil Cruz, like so stacked up top. Turner and Dela Cruz, I have both 20% of. The guy I'm actually most over the field on, though, is Corey Seager, since we're projecting him for like 3% ownership today, and I have 12. But those three are really my priorities.
All right, Taylor, what do you like at shortstop today?
Yeah, you can't go wrong with any of those guys. I think Francisco Lindor, even if you're not stacking the Mets, obviously a great one-off. Ditto with Bobby Witt going into Fenway, a park that plays uprighty power. He has a lot of it, so he looks very good to me. The punt that I'm getting to the most is Max Schumann, just because I'm stacking Oakland. I'm not even sure how you say that name, but he's 2,200. Ton of opportunity cost, but it is what it is. And I think O'Neal Cruz is another standout that TJ mentioned that I like.
All right, takes care of the shortstop position, and we'll reset the housekeeping stuff here. All we have to do is go through outfield. We've got plenty of time yet. We've got 17 minutes before lock, so we'll get to your questions. rotogrinders.com/discord. We're in the live stream chat channel. We'll prioritize your questions in there. If we have extra time, we can take some from the YouTube chat as well. TJ, where do we stand on likes at the moment?
10 likes away from the 4th Spidey Bomb.
All right, and a couple more reminders. Don't forget about SimLabs. SimLabs is the expert DFS lineup generation tool from Roto Grinders and Fantasy Labs. It is now available for PGA and MLB. With just a few clicks, you can have hundreds of well-built correlated lineups for whatever contest you're playing. You get access to SimLabs with a Roto Grinders premium subscription, so be sure to get that. And if you're a premium subscriber, you can also get the new Pick 6 browser extension on Firefox to get the premium props and pick'em projections overlaid on screen. That way you can quickly and easily find the lines with the best value and make expert picks all in one place. So download that on Firefox if you are a premium subscriber. All right, let's go through outfield, and then we will start hitting the questions. Taylor, what do you like in the outfield today?
Yeah, outfield is loaded as always. Schwarber might be the top overall play on the slate. Brandon Marsh, Nick Castellanos, Johan Rojas, all on your Philly stacks. The Oakland guys, once again, Lawrence Butler, I think he's leading off. JJ Bleday, Brent Rooker, Seth Brown, also an outfield option you can play. The Reds are going to look good. Lefty masher extraordinaire Austin Hayes is on, or Austin Slater is on this team now. I think he's worth the look. Reese Hines is outfield only now. Obviously, we mentioned him as a guy that homers every day. Brian De La Cruz, I don't mind, even if you're not stacking Miami, I think he's an okay cheap one-off against Lodolo. The Cubs look decent. Happ, Suzuki, Pete Crow Armstrong as an affordable option. And the Pirates, once again, Andrew McCutchen, Josh Palacios, Dax Lewinsky is in the lineup today. So plenty of goodness in the outfield. Didn't even mention Ohtani, Andy Pajes, if you want to stack LA. All good stuff.
Yeah, I like Pajes as a kind of a mid-range value today as well. Plenty of options there in the outfield. TJ, what do you like in the outfield this afternoon?
So Taylor will appreciate this. My highest owned guy is actually Lawrence Butler today in the outfield. Nice cheap punt, batting leadoff for Oakland. Want to get to as much of him as I can. Same with Reese Hines, Masataka Yoshida, and Andy Pajes as salary savers today. And then I'm getting a ton of Schwarber, trying to spend up for Shohei Ohtani as much as I can. But Brian Reynolds, Spencer Steer, and Yordan Alvarez are also guys I'm looking to get overweight on. Ian Happ, a Spidey Bomb, I like to get overweight on him. And then a couple other cheap to mid-range plays, Brennan Donovan and Will Brennan. I like both of them a lot today too.
Yeah, so you got basically options here in the outfield for whatever price range you need. You're probably going to end up with one of the spend ups for sure. Schwarber would be my favorite. Nimmo probably a close second, but like some of those value calls and plenty of decent mid-range options as well. All right, we're going to start hitting up the questions now. We've got tons of time, so don't be shy. If you want to ask a question, get it into the Roto Grinders Discord live stream chat channel. And as usual, we got Carolina Guy with the FanDuel single entry favorite pitcher question and also one off the wall stack. So, TJ, who is your FanDuel single entry favorite pitcher and an off the wall stack?
I will go Nick Lodolo because he's coming in at nice low ownership on FanDuel. And then favorite sneakier stack, let's go with Detroit.
All right, Taylor, I'll let you answer that same question.
I'll go with Pepio. Just as I don't know if he's super high owned or anything, but it doesn't look like Pittsburgh's projecting for a lot of ownership on FanDuel last I saw, so I'll take the Pirates.
All right, fair enough. Well, let's go ahead and get some other questions. Let's see. FanDuel single entry 2v2. This is from D-Dot. We've got Devers and Yoshida or Jake Berger and Otani in a FanDuel single entry. TJ, what do you like on that combo?
Devers and Yoshida.
All right, I like the Red Sox today as well. Singer's been good, I know, but that team is just dangerous against right-handed pitching. Good weather there, and you got 5-run team total for Boston this afternoon. So, D-Dot also said any love for Orion Kerkering on FanDuel. I believe he's just acting as an opener for the Phillies. He's not going to go deep into the game, so I wouldn't mess with that. If I pulled up his game log. So yeah, he's been active all year, and if he is pitching today, for sure, he threw 20 pitches yesterday. So he's not certainly going probably more than an inning. So definitely don't play Kerkering today. JMBP FanDuel single entry best stack. We kind of answered the sneaky stack earlier, but number 1 overall stack. Taylor, what do you got there?
Number 1 overall, I would still have the Phillies. I'm sure they're going to be quite chalky, but hard for me to get away from that spot.
All right. Let's see. The Pharaoh says FanDuel cash. Pajes. You're not playing Pajes on FanDuel. You don't do that. He's okay as a punt on DraftKings, but as a Cardinal fan, I implore you do not play Pajes on FanDuel. So it's Yoshida or Lawrence Butler on FanDuel cash. TJ.
Yoshida.
And also, RC player is asking TJ if you would bet Schwarber to hit a bomb at plus 120. I've never, maybe judge a time or two, but plus 120.
No, the Phillies are just. I managed to get Trey Turner at plus 300 today. I didn't touch Schwarber just because they were all terrible. And then I found I can only use the one site. It's called playnow.com. It's just here in a couple provinces in Canada. But I found that they had Bryce Harper at plus 250 to hit a home run. But then which I didn't want to bet, but his 4 total bases was also listed at plus 250. And so I figured I'd take that one just because you get the extra benefit of hey, he gets 2 or 3 hits. You could get there anyway.
Yeah. All right. Let's keep on rolling through here. We're less than 10 minutes up until lock. JMVP says stacking Washington. Would you go with Keller and an Oakland mini stack with that, or Quintana and a Cincinnati mini stack? Taylor.
They both sound good. I think I would take Keller and Oakland, but you're not doing it wrong either way.
Build a second lineup, JMVP. Build a second lineup. Take them both. This is a good question from Luke Cage 78. DK GPP. Who is the lowest priced pitcher in your player pool? TJ, who you got?
I have Trevor Rogers on DraftKings, and then it would be Ben Lively on FanDuel if I were playing there.
And Trevor Rogers on DraftKings is $5K, and he's probably the only starter that's that cheap. So, Taylor, are you playing any Trevor Rogers, or are you?
Yeah, unfortunately, I have quite a bit of Trevor Rogers just for the pure punt.
Michaelis is probably the only other option if you're not into Trevor Rogers at that cheap of a price tag, and he's even a little bit more. Okay. Again, get your questions in if you got them. Plenty of time here before we get to lock. Somebody says, do you like Nicholas for a FanDuel GPP? But I am not sure who he's talking about.
Michaelis?
Oh, must be Michaelis. I was trying to find a Nicholas, and the Pirates have a reliever named Nicholas. It must be Michaelis.
Fourth Spidey Bomb, by the way, I got it scrolling at the bottom. We're at 150 likes. If we can get up to 175, which we're only 20 away from, I do have one more. But the fourth Spidey Bomb is Brandon Nimmo.
All right, Nimmo as the fourth Spidey Bomb. So anyway, assuming that Beaner means Michaelis, I don't think he's necessary, especially in a GPP on FanDuel where you only get one pitcher. Just not a big ceiling there. I mean, I think he's okay, but probably more of a DK play. Which the Grinch is asking after that. Michaelis or Marquez on DraftKings. Look, I'm not. Where's this Marquez kind of love coming from? The dude has pitched like no innings, and he pitches for the Rockies, and the Mets have been like beating everybody. And I know neither of you guys mentioned Marquez, so I'm not directing that at you specifically, but like we've got Marquez at 12%. I'm not sure where that's coming from. Well, who wants to play Marquez?
Yeah,
I
I'd be
don't know
surprised
about
if
that
he's
one,
that owned.
I've been answering questions in YouTube, but Taylor, I gotta throw this one to you because I genuinely don't know. This is just like a straight coin flip for me. Mitch Keller and Colt Keith, or Nick Lodolo and Cabrian Hayes.
I don't have a lot of Colt Keith, but I do think that's a very good call that you made earlier. So I think I would lean that direction.
All right, I like it. And then DK large field GPP, Pepio or Tyon? Who do you like better? I'm not going to either, so Pepio.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Philly and Miami stacks and vice versa. I don't like Miami stack personally today, Mr. Richard. They're picking up high ownership and they're going against Lodolo. So I personally don't like them today. I've liked them the last 2 days, not so much today at their ownership against a much better pitcher. Favorite outfielder at 3,800 or below on DraftKings for cash. And then sorry, I'll stop with that's it for the YouTube if you want to take Discord back. But 3,800 or less DraftKings cash. I think it's probably Hines resigns.
Yep.
Let's see again. He is right there at the 3,800 mark today. All right, we got just a couple more. Another person asking about Herman Marquez. We just answered that, so no Marquez for us, especially on FanDuel. Just no thanks. All right, FanDuel single entry: Josh Lowe and Castellanos, or Butler and Andujar. I think that's probably Josh Lowe and Castellanos for me from Falcor. Any different takes on that one?
No, it's close, but I would take that one too, I think.
All right, RC player wants to know who is Spidey's favorite bomb of the day. So I'm not sure if you always post them, TJ, in order of preference, but of the ones you've mentioned, who is the favorite?
One I feel most confident will hit one today is Rafael Devers. Favorite for their odds is on the site I personally got. It's Ian Happ because I got him for plus 500, but he is only like plus 400 elsewhere. And so I would say Ellie Dela Cruz at plus 550.
All right, just about 4 minutes left here until lock. Don't see anything as far as updated news or scratches or anything like that. Sometimes weird stuff happens the day before the All-Star break, but some of the afternoon lineups are coming out. Don't see anything as far as late scratches here on the main slate. See a couple people typing in the Discord. If you want to get those questions answered, get them in now. And again, hit that thumbs up button. Always appreciate you guys watching along on Sunday and hanging out with us, keeping us company on the weekend. And hope we can help you make some money along the way as well. All right, who is your top punt catcher on DK and GPPs? Taylor, I'll throw that one to you.
Punt. If Joey Bart at 3K counts as a punt, I would say him. If it's someone you need that's cheaper, probably your boy Pedro Pajes for me.
Pedro Pajes is finally a pretty good defensive catcher there that has helped for the Cardinals after Contreras hasn't been good throwing guys out, and they had Ivan Herrera for a while. He couldn't throw anybody out. So Pajes has stayed up as the backup catcher because he's at least somewhat competent defensively, and he's been getting a few more starts and hitting a little better too. So happy for him. All right, TJ, anything else in the YouTube of significance here?
Nope. Jerry Berg asked 2 plays at the outfield for FanDuel Cash besides Kyle Schwarber. And so I said, Taylor, feel free to correct me if you disagree or add to it, but I said the only other must for FanDuel Cash would be Brian Reynolds. at 3,400. That's like him and Schwarber are the two you make sure you have. And then the third just depends on salary. If you got to go cheap, Yoshida or McCutchen. Mid-tier, Steer, Duran, Nimmo, or expensive Ohtani.
Yeah, I think that's right. Butler's not like mega cheap on FanDuel, so I think you're right on that.
JMVP asked me, who is the one hitter you believe goes yard for the Cardinals today? Oh boy, I don't love being put on the spot with my team, especially because they haven't hit a ton of home runs. But
Steve Josephson also asking if you like Tyon against your cards.
I'm not playing Tyon. I mean, there's no K upside there. It's hot. They played 2 games yesterday. They might leave him out to take a beating for a little while. If it just, there's no upside. There's too much downside in playing Tyon. So no. As far as home run calls, he's been horrible this year, but Nolan Arenado got the game-winning hit last night, and he was pretty fired up about it. Maybe that sparks something for him, and it's not like Tyon's going to blow the ball by him. So, I think Arenado. I mean, the lineup's a little bit weaker today. They don't have Contreras in there, so got some outs at the bottom. Gorman has the most power on the team, so and Tyon again isn't going to blow it by him, and he struggles with the Ks. So yeah, Gorman and Arenado would be my first 2 for the Cardinals today in terms of just strictly home run picks. DK single entry, Colt Keith or Zach Geloff? Last question before the All-Star break is Colt Keith or Zach Geloff? What the heck? I'll let you both answer it. TJ, who you got?
Keith.
Taylor?
I have Geloff. So
all right. We head into the All-Star break with a disagreement on Colt Keith versus Zach Geloff. I couldn't think of a better way to leave for a few days than with that question. So with that, we are at roster lock, and we will go ahead and call it a Sunday heading into the All-Star break. Again, 4 days, no regular season games, so we'll be back on Friday, and then, of course, back next weekend on our usual weekend routine. So thanks to all of you for joining. Again, hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. Thanks to TJ for hosting and producing alongside as well. And thanks to Taylor. I'm Justin. We hope you all have a great All-Star break, and we'll catch you all later, everybody.